fellow Jackrabbits. It's indeed a pleasure to spend a little bit of time with you tonight at your team meeting in talking about forensics and all of the values and skills that I have gleaned from my 24 years of experience. My name is Chris Kroc. I am a 2002 master's graduate of South Dakota State University. I am currently the president and co-founder of Speak to Compete, a public speaking consulting company, and I also teach public speaking online for SDSU. So I am still a Jackrabbit. I will always be a Jackrabbit, and it's always a great day to be a Jackrabbit. One of the reasons that I started Speak to Compete is because I wanted to share all the values that speech has taught me over these past 24 years of my involvement. And I'm often asked, what are some of the greatest accomplishments that I have had both as a competitor and as a coach? And I oftentimes think back to my days in high school when my high school team won a state team title in North Dakota. I think back to my collegiate days when I was a competitor at the University of Mary and we won a state team title in North Dakota, which doesn't sound significant when I think there were only about actually 3 teams that competed in the state. But we committed to a common goal and we set out to accomplish that goal. And then I certainly think back to my days as director of forensics at Gustavus Adolphus College for 13 years, where we were fortunate enough to win 7 Minnesota State championships, as well as become one of 11 teams in the history of college speech to be ranked in the elite top 10 5 consecutive years at the AFA NIET, the only non-Division I school that holds that distinction. And when I think back to what was the secret of our success, because I get asked that question all the time, it comes back to what I refer to as the power of the unit. And tonight, I want to spend a few brief moments unpacking what is so crucial and instrumental about the power of the unit. Because you're about to embark on the spring semester, which I think is the greatest part of the academic year, because that's when you get to go compete at the state tournament, and that's when you get to go compete at the national tournament. And those 2 tournaments are all about the team. And this next semester is really about what can the power of the unit accomplish this semester. The first concept that I want to talk about is what I refer to as the circle of safety, the speech circle of safety. I recently read a book called Leaders Eat Last, and it talked about a story of 4 oxen and a lion. And every time that the lion would come around, the oxen decided that they were going to get in a circle. And the oxen decided to get horn to horn, butt to butt, when the lion would come and size up his prey. And every time that the lion came around, the oxen would get into that formation and the lion would retreat. Well, eventually the oxen decided that they simply did not need each other anymore, so they decided to go off in their separate ways. And as a result, and you probably can guess what happened, the lion ate each oxen one by one. The whole point of the story is that you cannot accomplish anything alone. Because if you decide to go off by yourself, you're going to get eaten by the lion, or in this case, you're going to get eaten by your competitors, and you're simply not going to accomplish the feats that you can accomplish when you have the power of the unit. So I want you to think of your team as a circle, and think of it as the safety circle. And that circle must extend to the most outer limits of your team, all the way from your most senior competitors all the way down to your most novice competitors. Because when you create that circle of safety, then everyone feels safe. And when you feel safe, you can develop 2 skills that I think are instrumental in becoming an elite competitor. 1, you must have an ego. Yes, in order to be an elite competitor, you must have an ego. And let me explain the difference between having an ego and being conceited. When you're conceited, you simply think that you're better than everyone else. But when you have an ego, you believe in your own abilities. You have self-confidence in what it is that you can accomplish. And when you have a circle of safety, you can develop that ego because you trust the teammates that are around you. But at the same time as having an ego, you're able also to have humility, the second skill or concept that's instrumental in becoming an elite competitor. When you have humility, you open yourself up to other people. You admit that you need other people to help you, and you allow those people to help you become a better competitor. So when you develop the speech circle of safety, and it extends to the most outer limits of your team, and everyone feels safe, everyone is able to develop an ego, and everybody's able to have humility, which I think not only will make you a better individual competitor, but at the same time, it will elevate your team. Second, I want to talk about the 3 C's that I think are important. You see, leaders create culture. Culture drives behavior, and behavior produces results. When leaders create a culture, you create a culture that produces behaviors that you want in order to get the results that you so desire. And I think that culture must rely on the 3 C's. And those are character, competence, and connection. When you have character, what I refer to is you have ethical trust. In other words, you do what you say you will do repeatedly. Okay? You do what you say you will do repeatedly, and people become to expect that. So you create ethical trust within the team because you always do what you say you're going to do. You say you're going to make those revisions. You say you're going to go to X number of tournaments. You say you're going to show up on Wednesday night to help people peer coach, and you repeatedly do that, and people can expect you to do what you say you're going to do. Second is competence. And what I mean by competence, I refer to as technical trust. You do your job to make the team better. Okay? You do your job to make the team better. You do what you need to do to make yourself the best competitor, which also makes the team better. And what you always do is you always put the team ahead of your own needs. We used to have a sign on our door at Gustavus that said, if you're not willing to put the team first, then don't walk through the door. If you're not willing to put the team first, don't walk through this door. So when you have technical trust, you do your job. Because whatever you do or don't do, if you choose not to practice, if you choose not to make the necessary revisions, if you choose not to peer coach, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting the team. Because what you do to everybody that's in that room with you right now. And finally is connection. And that's what I refer to as personal trust. In other words, your teammates experience you being caring. They experience you listening. They experience you engaging with people on the team that you actually care about them. No, I don't expect you to be best friends with everyone on your team. I don't expect you to go to dinner once a week with everybody on your team. But I do expect that you respect everyone on your team and that you care about them as an individual, that you will listen to them, that you will engage in meaningful dialogue to let people know that, yeah, I care about you, your interests, and what's going on in your lives. Because when you have character, when you have competence, and you have connection that connects a triangle, then you have trust at the center. And when you have trust, then you develop a power of the unit, and your team can accomplish way more than you can accomplish by yourself, and way more than you think is humanly possible. So my challenge is you. Think about the word family. I recently heard a coach refer to family as, forget about me, I love you. Forget about me, I love you. Focus on the 3 C's. Focus on the speech circle of safety. That's my challenge for you this spring semester. And if you do that, I think you'll be amazed at what your team can accomplish and what you can accomplish by the end of the spring semester. Go big, go blue, go Jacks.